Hi guys, this is SDJR88 speaking with a look at a new project, constructing the Hardy's Hobbies pre-war 100 horsepower Sentinel kit. So as you all know, the 3D printed industry has come on in leaps and bounds in recent years, and you can now get a number of amazing model railway items produced using this very technique. Now, one such company that produces these parts is Hardy's Hobbies, and he has introduced a range of 3D printed locomotive bodies that fit on ready-to-run chassis, mainly of industrial locomotives. Now, on Leap Year's Day, he made a surprise announcement and released this kit, which is of the 100 horsepower pre-war Sentinel, and you can pick this up for £45 from his website. Now, as soon as I saw this kit announced, I was one, very surprised, and two, very interested in this model in particular, mainly because, first of all, it uses the new Hornby Ruston Chassis, which is a very good mechanism, so I know hopefully this kit will run really well. Secondly, and most importantly, this is the very same locomotive that was used at the Fry's Somerdale chocolate factory in Keynsham, and that locomotive was recently saved and restored on the Avon Valley Railway. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to try and recreate that locomotive in model form? So without further ado, we're going to take a little brief look at the history of the class before we take a look at what you get in the kit. A number of these 100 horsepower Sentinel locomotives were built in the 1920s, with works number 7492 probably being one of the most iconic of these. She was built in 1928 and spent her entire working life at the Fry's Somerdale chocolate factory in Keynsham, where she worked there until scrapping in 1956. At that point, she was then believed to have been lost to the history books. However, in 2009 she was discovered in a garden shed in Essex and brought back to the Avon Valley Railway, where she was restored to working order. And as you can see on screen now, we have some footage of her launch in April 2019. And you can see she's in her Fry's royal blue livery, which I think will look absolutely stunning on this model. So here are all the items that are included in the kit. We've of course got the instruction manual, which is very nice and easy to read. Basic simple steps on how to assemble and complete your kit. And then of course we got the actual kit components as well. So of course we got the main piece, which is the actual body of the locomotive. It's one solid piece, the buffers are already part of the moulding, but it's very nicely done. Some 3D prints I find you get a lot of the lines where it's obviously been printed. It's not very noticeable on this one, I must say. It's really well done. There is a tiny bit on the front, but of course that could be sanded down. But yeah, the quality of the plastic that's this thing's been printed from is really high quality. Some models that I've assembled in the past, made from 3D prints, can feel very brittle and crumbly, so it's really nice to have a nice strong plastic used here. We've also got the cab piece here. It's got the funnel obviously pre-attached. This will sit on top and go through to the boiler. Then we got a number of little detailing parts, including the locomotive crew. So we've got two crew there, driver and fireman. We've also got two tool boxes and two sand boxes for you to attach to the running plate. We've got a little packet here which contains some brass wire. Now this is for the handrails. This obviously got to be cut to size and put into position. And then we also have a little pack of attachments. And you can see we've got two NEM couplings in there, some nuts, and a screw, and also some hooks for chain link coupling in there as well. And those are to allow you to attach the Hornby Ruston chassis to the base of the model. Now of course the Hornby Ruston is not included with the kit, so you have to go out and purchase one of those. And of course you'll need some glues and all usual model materials to assemble the kit. But it's a very nice packet. There's not very much sort of assembly to do. It looks quite a simple kit, so I really can't wait to get started. So first step is to add the brass handrails, and we do this by drilling out 4 holes in the footplate. You can just about see them marked on there now, with a 0.5mm drill bit. Once that is done, we will then cut some of the brass wire to size. The first 2 bits will obviously be used for the front handrail there, and they attach to the top of the body there with a bit of glue. The ones on the rear, however, will not be cut to size until the roof is attached, so we'll have a bit of overhang on the top. This is to ensure that they meet the roof much like on the prototype. So without further ado, let's get the drill going and get started. So now that the handrails have been glued into position, the next step is to add the sand and tool boxes. Now on the Fry Sentinel, the sand boxes are located to the left and right of the front of the locomotive, while the only toolbox, and there is only one on the Fry Sentinel, is located just here in front of the cab. So without further ado, I'm going to cut the boxes off the sprues and glue them into position. So now that the majority of details have been added, it's now time to start applying the livery. So first I'm going to go over with a grey primer, get the model all primed ready for the main livery coat, which is going to be Holford's Renault Royal Blue, which I think is a very close match to the Royal Blue used for the Fry's livery. Once that is on, I'm then going to pick out the frames in black, as well as the buffer beams and of course all of the cab details. Now obviously I'm not going to go spraying these aerosols inside in my hotel room. One, I don't think that'd be a very good idea, and two, I don't think the hotel will be very happy with a Renault Blue desk. So I'm going to take these into the office and prime the model there. So with the paintwork complete, it's now time to test mount the motor. And for that, we require our donor model, which is of course the wonderful Hornby Ruston. Now the way that the motor will be mounted from the Ruston to the Sentinel is quite simple. There are 4 mounting points on the bottom of the Sentinel body, and there are 4 nuts provided in the kit. These are glued onto those mounting points, and once dry, the motor will be unscrewed from the Ruston and using the same 4 screws will be attached to the bottom of the Sentinel. It's a bit of a tight fit, but the Sentinel is now on the Ruston chassis, and boy does it look good. I'm really pleased with how this model is sort of started to come together now. The next step is of course adding the finishing touches, such as the crew, the couplings, and of course the locomotive's all-important Fry's identity. So with the finishing touches such as the crew and decals added, the model really has come to life. The figures are not the ones that were included in the kit, but they are from the Hardy's Hobbies range. These are his pre-painted Peckett crew and they fit in there really nicely. I especially like the fireman who seems to be leaning on the rear of the cab there. The decals themselves are from a well-known auction site. They are in fact replica decals for a dinky van. Now, they are not quite the correct font as per the prototype, but they are close enough and they do have a nice gold leaf finish, much like the real thing. They're simple water slide transfers, so they simply slid on there and they really do finish off the model nicely. I've done a bit of improvisation when it comes to the front and rear of the loco. On the real thing it has Somerdale, but on this one I've used the Cocoa logo on the front and the chocolate logo on the back, and it really does finish the model off nicely. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I'm really pleased with how this model has turned out, and I hope you are too. Possibly there might be future improvements for the model, potentially adding lining, much like how the real thing is painted at the moment. Of course, a bit ironic doing this video at precisely the same time the real thing was being repainted, so it was always a bit of a risk. But as the model stands, I'm really pleased with how it looks. I might order some Narrow Planet Sentinel plates to put on the side of the cab, much like how I photographed it. But let me know what you think. I'm really chuffed to bits with how this model has turned out. I'll pop a little link in the description below on where you can get your hands on one of these kits. He also has a number of other wonderful locomotives that fit on ready-to-run chassis in the range, and I highly recommend checking them out. They are really good quality kits, as I have found out in building this model. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project, and until next time, this has been SDJRSNF88 speaking, and thanks for watching.